keep talking. Hi, everybody. This is Avani from SHEROES, wanting to welcome you on this wonderful Tuesday. It's about 5:15 Indian Standard Time, especially for those of you that are not watching this from India. Can you all see me? If you can see me, say hello. People are running around here. This is our first time. It's our first time going live. So we are figuring out how this is going to work. But you may see more live videos from SHEROES and Friends of SHEROES really, really soon. So let us know in the comments all of the wonderful people that you'd like for us to feature and who you'd like for us to have live. I see lots of running around me. So I don't even know if you can see me right now, but I'm just going to keep talking because it's probably just going to get posted to YouTube. And hopefully it'll get posted to the SHEROES feed. So some of you may know me from the love and relationships community. I'm also the director of empathy here at SHEROES. So basically it's my job and my privilege to make sure that all of us as a part of the SHEROES community get the help that we need and get the assistance that we need.
वो खाली हो रहा है ना, बहुत plain हो रहा है, color ही नहीं है कोई, ये white है ना पूरा.
And they're fixing the background. So the camera's going to get moved around and I'm just going to keep talking to you. So I have my colleagues Tushar and Shikhar in the room with me, making sure that everything is super awesome for this first live experience with you guys. And so you'll hear them talking in the background and I'm just going to talk to you guys to see what's going on. So first of all, what's going on with everyone? What's up with your life? How are you doing? It's almost, you know, like the year is just going by so fast. I feel like just last week it felt like January and now all of a sudden it's April.
एक मिनट अब देखो मैंने बहुत आगे कर दिया अब देखो.
So while they adjust the camera, I want to check in with all of you to see how are you doing, what's going on, what are you feeling, what are you thinking, what are all the fantastic things that are going on in your life. Let me know in the comments. And so during this session, you can ask me any questions that you want. So, excuse me guys, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a relationship counselor and before I joined SHEROES, I actually ran a platform for sex and relationships called Love Doctor. And so Love Doctor was a place where you could get all your questions answered about sex and relationships confidentially. So on this platform, people would ask the most intimate questions of their lives, and so we're still live. And Shikhar and Tushar are trying to make sure that this lovely plant is in the background. So on Love Doctor, every single day, people would come and ask all of the most personal questions that they had. A lot of them were going through breakups. People were asking questions about how they could meet somebody fantastic, like maybe they really wanted to meet a life partner. We also got questions a lot about your body and sexual health, right? So if you think about it, there aren't a lot of places that we can go to get these answers openly. And so we've brought all of that onto SHEROES now, and in this love and relationships community, you can see that we're having all types of conversations. And there's an amazing love squad of fantastic women who are here to support you and get your questions answered. And I was just looking at our top users a little while ago, and actually I'm just gonna see if I can see some of the names of the top commenters. So our top commenters of the past week, we have such an amazing and fabulous group of women in this community. Rupal Gupta has commented 476 times. Welcome, Rupal, to the community, and thank you so much for helping others. Aditi Gupta, also, you've been commenting a lot. Sonali, who's one of the Love Squad members, we love you. Vinny, I remember you coming into the community as a new member. Welcome so much to you. Ruchi Singh, Priyanka Saini, Samradevi Surve, Minaz Amjad, Priyanka Singh, Priyanka Chaudhary, and Natasha Mishram. Thank you, ladies, so much for being a part of this community. All of you guys were the top commenters over the past week. So yay, give yourselves a pat on the back, because if you're commenting a lot, typically it means you're helping other women. So we love you for that, and thank you so much for that. I was just checking that out. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are happening in our community. And you guys can ask me any questions that you want, okay? So during this time, feel free to type in the comment box underneath this post. Let me know what's on your mind. You can also ask anonymously, so it doesn't have to be using your name. So just remember to check that anonymous box and ask me anything. So remember I told you I used to run Love Doctor, and now I play one of the roles as the Love Squad members in the love and relationships community on SHEROES. I also look at all of the other communities on SHEROES with our fantastic community happiness evangelists and our community managers. So I'm always listening to what you guys are saying, and I see so many of us with broken hearts, so many of us that are, really struggling with getting our partner's attention. So one of the questions I see all the time in the community is, how can I get my husband's attention? Or how can I get my boyfriend to text me back? How can I get my partner, whoever that person is, to pay attention to me? And it sounds like you guys are feeling really lonely. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But firstly, I want to see if you guys have any questions. You can leave those in the comment box below this video. So please make sure you ask me any questions that you have. You can ask me anything in the world. And remember, my specialties are love, relationships, sexual health. We can also talk about friends and family and, feeling lonely, being sad, how you can build confidence within yourself, personal questions. Feel free to ask me anything. And if you see the plant moving magically, the plant is magically moving. So once again, for your viewing pleasure, we have this beautiful plant back here so that you're not bored by the flip in my hair. So leave your questions in the comment box and I'll address them one by one. So I do see that there's some of you watching. Hello to everyone that's watching. I love you. Mwah. Thank you so much for being here. There's really something about this community that makes the day special. So one thing that I've realized is every single time I come into the love and relationships community, I always see women helping other women, right? There's this feeling of that somebody really has your back, and that if you have a problem going on in your life, or there's something really heavy on your heart, that you can share it here, and there's going to be people there to help you. So, with that being said, that's my special shout out of love to this community. Really, really love and appreciate all of you guys. And until we get some questions or someone tells me if there's any questions, are there any questions? Does anyone know? Okay, we don't know. So I'm here by myself and I can't see the questions right now. But until somebody tells me what your questions are, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that I'm seeing in the community and give you my perspective on them. So last week, we had a lot of women sharing that they were pregnant, and they were unintentionally pregnant. And we even had a 16-year-old girl who, more power to you, sister, if you're watching this, I'm sending you all my love. These are really difficult situations when you find yourself, even if you have used protection, or you have had safe sex, or it's just something random, and you find yourself in a situation where you're pregnant. And what I saw our community do is really reach out and support those women who found themselves in that situation. But there were also a lot of women that were asking really hard questions. And a lot of women were saying, well, you should have been more careful. So I want to address that in the sense that, when we have a community member that is reaching out for help, it's really important that we respond to them with love. Right? So, if you guys see that somebody's having a hard time or they find themselves in a difficult situation, even if you don't agree with what they've done, please respond to them with love, because that is the spirit of our community at SHEROES, right? We're women helping other women. So I think that's super important to say. The other thing I want to tell all of you, I think there are 3 of you that found yourself in that situation last week, and there's probably more of you out there listening, is that, if you find yourself in a situation where you're pregnant and you don't want to be pregnant, or it was unplanned, or you feel like you're not going to get the support that you need, or you're too young, the first thing to do is to get support around you. Okay, so I know that we can be scared, and I know that we sometimes don't want to tell our parents, we don't want to tell our loved ones, we don't want to tell our partners, but it's really important that you keep the lines of communication open, because when you're pregnant, you need people around you to support you, no matter what you decide. If you decide to keep the baby, if you decide to have an abortion, you really need that support. And I know it's scary, but don't isolate yourself. Okay, know that people are here for you and that they have your back. So I can see one of the questions popping up here from Nancy. Hi, Nancy. So happy to have you here with us today. And Nancy's saying a big hug. Okay, great, for making her feel good. And and could I please share a quick love tip? So I'm going to share something that I've learned that is from this wonderful institute and this researcher named John Gottman. So the Gottman Institute teaches us 4 different warning signs of a relationship that's going to break up, or a marriage that's going to head into divorce. And a large part of these 4 warning signs are partners not responding to another partner's attempt to connect. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're really tired. It's the end of your day and your husband is coming in and he's asking you for a glass of water or something, okay? And you are like, you know what? This guy is always asking me for things, but he never does anything for me. And underlying all that sense of your relationship is you wanting your partner to do something for you. But if you turn away from the request or act snappy at your partner, you are basically denying the opportunity to connect. Right? So, you know, that conversation that your partner wants to have when you're busy, that time when you're feeling overwhelmed and you just, you can't think of anything else, and your partner wants like a back rub, even when your partner's initiating sex. I'm not saying that you have to have sex with them if you don't want to have sex with them, or you have to talk to them if you don't want to talk to them. And Shiva, I saw your question. I'm going to answer it anyway. Okay, sweetheart? So I'll answer it just in a general sense. But when our partners turn towards us and they're looking for affection, and we are just like, even if you don't say it in that way, every single time we do that, the relationship erodes. The relationship loses a chance to get stronger through these tiny, tiny moments of connection. And those moments of connection are what build up our love. So that's the biggest love tip that I can give you, Nancy, is that every single opportunity that you're with your partner is a chance to build these small moments of connection, to pay attention to them, to answer a question sweetly, to connect to them with a touch on the hand or like a rub of the shoulder. And when we can connect in that way, we help to prevent the chance that our relationship will break down, because those small building blocks of connection are what build up our love into something that's strong and long-lasting. So I hope that helped. I'm happy to share more tips. I have lots of them, especially if you are brave enough to ask me about sex tips. I have a lot of those. So feel free to ask me anything. Truly ask me anything. I will answer anything. So we had a question from someone, and she is asking, how can we prevent our partners from cheating? So I think a lot of members of our community are dealing with that right now. Either they're suspecting their partners of cheating, or they know that their partners are not being faithful. So my first question to you is, cheating starts way before it actually happens, right? It means that there's a breakdown in the relationship. There's a breakdown in the connection. There's a breakdown in the intimacy, even before your partner goes for that other option. So firstly, identify what that breakdown is, okay? And be very honest with yourself. Don't pretend like everything's okay. Be honest with yourself about the state of your relationship. You can't make your partner do anything, right? We can't force our partners to do things. But what we can do is be honest with about the health of our own relationship and communicate our partners vis-a-vis what we expect. So to the person that asked this question, this very important question, I know you took your question away, but I'm answering it because it's super important. Understand the health of the health of your relationship first, and look at it on all parameters. Are you connecting well? How's your sex life? Are you able to spend time together? How's your communication? Are you arguing effectively? Or are you having big blow-ups and then not talking to each other for 5 days? Are you able to have a life of your own? Do you have healthy relationships with your family and friends where you feel like you can go out and see them and explore your own life goals? All of these indicate the health of a relationship, right? As well as basically how you're feeling on a day-to-day basis. One day you might have a bad day, but if you're having 50 bad days, then that's a sign. So look at the health of your relationship. The second thing is be really honest with your partner and very straightforward about what your boundaries are, okay? So I see a lot of women asking, I caught my partner WhatsApping with random women. I've caught my partner using a fake Facebook profile to talk to other women. My partner is on a dating app, and what should I do about that? Firstly, communicate very clearly to your partner that this is not okay. I mean, communicate whatever you feel. If it's okay for you, then communicate that. But if it's not okay, then I want you to communicate that super, super clearly. The second thing is have in mind a set of consequences, okay? So, and you need to also communicate that and your expectations to your partner. So the first message is, sweetheart, I saw your profile on a dating app. And that is not something that I agreed to in this marriage. I want a partner who is faithful to me. And when you do that, it makes me feel. So an I statement, I feel X when you do Y. When you go off and talk to other women, I feel unloved and appreciated. So express that emotion to them. The third thing is talking about the consequence, right? So you want to have a consequence and set a very clear boundary. This is unacceptable. And if this happens again, I am going to ask for us to go to marriage counseling and begin the process of divorce. Whatever you decide that consequence is, it could be different for different people. So first, communicate that it's not okay very clearly. The second thing is communicate what you're feeling in the moment and how that action directly impacts you. The third is communicating a boundary and a consequence. And the fourth is what you would like that person to do. I would prefer if you immediately took yourself off all dating apps, and if we go to marriage counseling. So I'm checking out some of your questions now. Really good questions, guys. Wow. Okay. So thank you for the super like, Anonymous. Mwah, love you. And I have 2 questions that I want to answer from our community members first. So we have So here. So mwah, a big kiss to you. I love you so much. And a hug back to you. So is saying, how does one deal with toxic in-laws? So this is a big question that we see in our community, especially with a meddling mother-in-law. So I have a different take on this question than a lot of other people have. I'm going to share with you what my perception is. You guys are welcome to say what you feel about this. Tell me how you agree or disagree. Okay, so this is a conversation between you and I. And I'm an expert, but I've never had a meddling in-law. When I was married, I had a father-in-law, but my mother-in-law had passed away. So I never had the opportunity to meet her. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is exactly what I told you, exactly the advice that I shared about being very direct and talking about how somebody's actions make you feel. So, to your mother-in-law, when you do this, I feel this. And it would be so great if we could, with a suggestion for improvement. Okay, so that's one of the communication parameters. The second thing that I want to really say is, and this is the controversial part. We come from a society where women have never had their time and place in the sun, okay? So our mother-in-laws were not only subjected to enormous amounts of abuses at the hands of their family and their partners usually, but they probably never had an opportunity to make decisions for themselves. And I'm making generalizations here. I know not all mother-in-laws are like that. So as soon as they get an opportunity, they will take it because they don't know any other way, right? When you're an animal in a cage and you see a chance to to get out of the cage, even if it's like cornering another animal in the cage, you're gonna take it. So I feel that most of the women that are doing this don't know any better. They were not given proper role models, and nobody's communicating clearly to them that their behavior is okay. And it's gonna take a little bit of extra love on your part to deal with that toxic behavior. And I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound crazy, but you cannot let somebody else's behavior affect you. You have to build up strong sense of support. So a lot of you ladies are isolated, you're not talking to your friends, you've lost touch with your family. I want you to maintain those connections so that you have a strong circle of support around you. Come to SHEROES and talk to the women here. Come every day, build connections with women. Build connections outside with your friends and your family. Go off and do things that you care about and you love. So that person's bad energy doesn't affect you as much, right? Because one thing I want to tell you is hurting people hurt other people. So understand once that you have to keep sharing patiently how that person's behavior makes you feel. And the second thing is you need a strong circle of support around you. And more than likely, your husband is not going to be the one that's fighting your mother-in-law. Your husband is stuck in the middle. And that is a really tough place to be in. And so you will have to find your support within yourself and elsewhere. Hopefully your husband will come around and understand what your point is. But for now, make sure that you have a strong sister around you that understands where you're coming from, that can listen to you, where you can vent to. You're eating well, you're drinking lots of water, you're exercising, you're taking care of your mental health, and you have the sisterhood around you so that you can feel supported. When we don't react to toxic behavior, when we don't respond, that person typically has no other choice but to let go. Right? So I want to talk to you about this one principle that I learned, and that anything we resist when we're making a muscle, see, I have like a baby muscle, not really, but when we're making a muscle, muscle is built on resistance. So if I pick up this water bottle and I use it as a weight, I will build my muscle. But if there's no resistance, my arm can move freely. So when we resist the actions of our mother-in-law and we push back and we're just as angry and we are just as toxic, let's be honest with ourselves, we're being just as toxic sometimes, right? We yell, we scream, we get angry, we power play, we play politics, then the mother-in-law has more fuel for her fire, because basically she's saying, oh, the daughter-in-law is not good and you're not good and all this stuff. If you don't react, if you don't provide that resistance, she doesn't get stronger, right? So keep that in mind. Hopefully that answered your question, but it's a huge issue, and I think this is about us getting to a level where we have the proper care, the proper sense of our own mental health, a strong support network around us that can carry us through, because she's not going to do that forever. And if she does, then one day she'll come to realize that she is the one that perpetuated this cycle. Let us be the generation that ends this dynamic. Let us be those women that decides that we're going to love our daughter-in-laws. Let us be the women that decides that no matter what our mother-in-law throws in front of us, that we are strong, we are capable, and we are supported. And we can do anything that we put our minds to. And remember, you always have us in the community to talk to. So thank you so much for that super relevant question. That was really important. So we have a question from Anonymous. Anonymous, fantastic question. I'm going to answer this. Is there any time limit before we consummate a relationship? Normally, my friends say there has to be a year-long abstinence. Is it true? Okay, so guys, having sex is a big decision in a relationship, okay? And there's various parameters around this decision that you should keep in mind. The first thing is that, are you physically ready, okay? Is your body responding to your partner? Is there an attraction? Do you feel good energy from them? Because trust me when I say, I think sometimes women have sex to build a relationship with somebody, but there's nothing deeper there. And once our love and cuddle hormones kick in, our time has passed. We can't judge between a good person and a bad person. So are you physically and emotionally ready for that connection with that person is my first question. The second question is the relationship capable of handling potential consequences? What are potential consequences of having sex? Well, we all know them. Getting a disease, getting pregnant, getting emotionally involved, you know, all kinds of things, having to deal with another person's fantasies and ideas around good sex. So if you guys are also not at the stage where the relationship can handle those things, and you haven't spoken openly about it, and there also hasn't been a conversation around consent, okay? And consent means, sorry guys, I'm just trying to adjust myself here, get a little comfortable, because I want to get close to you for this. Consent is a principle that means, do you want this? And have you had a conversation that both of you want this? If you haven't done that, then it's not the right time. So don't play games. Don't do a year-long abstinence or whatever. But anecdotally, you know, there's no correlation between waiting some time or jumping into bed really quickly to somebody with somebody. But for your own sake and for your ability to be able to deal with the consequences of having sex emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, you have to consider all that. And then you also have to add in that layer of consent. What is okay for me? What is okay for my partner? What does my partner prefer? What do I prefer? Right? And ultimately, the last question is, what do you both want out of this interaction? What do you both want out of the relationship? Hi guys, I see a lot of you guys are watching, sending you lots of love. We're talking about when is the right time to consummate a relationship and to have sex. So those are all the questions that you should be asking yourself. So there is no right time for everyone. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be different for me. It's going to be different for you. So make sure that you know yourself and your partner well enough and you've had those open conversations. Sometimes we're shy about having those conversations. Sometimes sex just happens. You're in the moment and you're going with the flow and all that kind of stuff. Even afterwards, even if it just happens, have those conversations because that openness is going to help you. If you can't be open with somebody that you're being intimate with, then something is lost, right? Because it's about true intimacy with somebody. Even if it's just a one-night stand, still have those conversations. So sending you love. I hope that I answered your question. Think about all those things. And if you have anything to say, please comment in the comment box below. I can see your comments and I am trying to refresh this so that I could see what's going on. So I saw a couple of questions. Now I'm going to ask, hi Anonymous, I see your question. And I see, okay, a question first from Nancy. Nancy has responded. Okay. Okay, Nancy. How sweet of you, Nancy. You're so cute. Not sure about reading minds, but you are blessed to feel hearts. One more question I have to ask is that to which extent expectations may affect one's relationship? Okay, so expectations are the difference between what you want to happen and the relationship you're having in your mind and the relationship that's playing out in real life. The only thing I say about expectations is that they kill relationships. And when you have them and you don't communicate them to your partner, you're basically asking your partner to sign a contract that they never agreed to sign, right? So imagine I say, today we're going to buy a new car and your EMI is going to be, 70,000 rupees a month and you are not working and you don't have any money in your bank account. That is what an expectation feels like to somebody that hasn't signed up for it, who has not said, okay, I agree to this. So if you're going to have expectations, be aware of them first. Check yourself, have a conversation with yourself. What do I think about relationships? Where did I learn them? What are my expectations? A lot of our expectations, I'll give you a very concrete example, are around how many times a day we talk to our partners, right? So if you're like most women, we want to have lots of contact with our partners throughout the day. We at least want to talk to them once during the day. Forget about if we see them. And so that's where we have to start setting expectations and at least being open about them. Sweetheart, I really like it when I hear from you. And I'd love to hear from you, at least once a day. That makes me feel so good when I hear your voice. And do you see how I said that really positively? So, otherwise, if you have an expectation of hearing from your honey, like 10 times a day, and that's what you had in your previous relationships, and you think that's normal for all relationships, and you don't tell your current bae, then your bae is going to be disappointing you and they haven't even signed up for that expectation. So hopefully that answers your question, Nancy. Try to keep the expectations to a minimum. Living in the present in your relationship is really hard. Sometimes we get into our heads, oh, what if we do this? What if we get married? What if this and that? But when you can just see and love that person for who they are, the way they are in that moment, that is when love blooms. Love grows in the dark. It's like a mushroom. So when it's unattended and not watched all the time and cared for and overwatered and overmanaged, it can grow just like a mushroom would grow in the dark, deep in the forest, without anyone watching it. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you so much for that question. That's a fantastic question. And So is saying she agrees about the question about the in-laws and the toxic in-laws. And So and everyone out there who's dealing with difficult in-laws, please don't isolate yourself. You cannot do this alone, and you need support around you. And as women, we are social creatures who need our sisters around us. And think about biologically, the men were always off hunting and gathering and like killing deer, and we were defending the nest, but we were doing that with a group of other women. And so I think there's something about us that's wired. Our hearts are wired to connect, right? You can see these two wires coming out of my chest trying to connect to you guys. Woo! Connecting out to all of you guys. So I see my colleagues laughing at me because I'm being silly. I love you guys too, all my sheroes that are watching. Thank you so much for hanging with this experiment with us today. We're going live for the first time. So I know a lot of you have joined. Hello to those of you who have joined. We're just answering questions about love, relationships, sex, family, confidence, loving yourself, all kinds of stuff here in the community right now. So we have a great question from Meryl. Hi, Meryl. Okay, so this is a fantastic question, Meryl. How do you support a woman who is experiencing domestic violence and abuse in her relationship but isn't taking action against it? So, guys, you can't force somebody to do something, even something that's good for them, right? And all of us have that one friend. She's either in a bad relationship or her partner's abusive, or you know that there's something that's really good for her and you try to encourage her as a friend to do it, but she's just dragging her feet. And the thing about experiencing domestic violence is that it completely gets rid of all of our sense of self. So, when somebody tells you that you're good for nothing, that you're worthless, or if they treat you like you're good for nothing and you're worthless, unless you're a very strong individual, you start to believe it. And so you have to understand that, women who are undergoing any type of abuse usually believe that they deserve it in some way. And the best way for us to be supportive to them, even if they don't want to take any action, is continue to be there. Just listening. Just listening. And I know that's so hard because you want to help them. You want to tell them to go to the police. You're going to say, this guy is going to kill you. You're telling them that they need to run for their lives. But if they're not ready and you force them to do something, then it's not really empowering them. So I used to be a domestic violence counselor. That's how I started my counseling career. And one of the things that we learned is that everybody has their right time, and some people never have a right time to get out of a situation. Some women will choose to stay in abusive relationships, and that's okay. That's their choice. That's a conscious choice. What we can do as friends is just be there, listen to them, and say, if you ever need resources for this, I'm happy to help you find them. Now that becomes difficult for us as friends, right? Sometimes when we become the helpers, we need support. We need emotional support. So make sure that as somebody who is dealing or has a friend that's going through this, that you have support around you that you can vent to. So whenever I take really difficult cases as a counselor, I go and talk to somebody about it, or I write in my journal, but I get it off my chest because I know that I've listened to so much and taken on so much heavy energy that sometimes you can start to identify with the outcome, right? I can start to say, well, if Saira doesn't leave this relationship, then I'm doing something wrong. I haven't made her get out of this relationship. And that's not the case. She's on her own journey, but I can only be there to witness her journey and support her and walk with her. Whatever her choice is, we have to respect. So I hope that answers your question, Meryl. It's a fantastic question. What I've seen is that women, once they get that unconditional support, because they're not getting it from their partners, they're not getting it from the partners or the family that's abusing them. They're not getting any support at all. Once they start to get unconditional support, they begin to come around. So I hope that helps. And there are some great tools that you can use. There's a fantastic organization called CHAYN, CHAYN. And CHAYN India, CHAYN Pakistan, they're a group of organizations that build do-it-yourself guides for women who are experiencing abuse. And they've long time been a partner of me and my previous organization, and also partnered with SHEROES sometimes. And they have a Be a Good Friend guide. So I'll try to link to that guide below in the comments so that you can see it. But definitely check out that resource because it talks about the ways that we can be a good friend to people experiencing abuse. Okay, our next question. Anonymous, how to find the right guy? So that's a great question. These are such good questions. So I'm gonna say one thing, and I'm not gonna go into a long answer about this. Are you the right person? Attraction is about being a mirror. That is the basic principle of attraction, right? So sometimes, you know, when we sort of like somebody, we start to mimic the things that they say and the things that they do. Have you ever caught yourself doing that? Like maybe you pick up a phrase that they say or something. So if we take this on the longer understanding, then you have to be the type of person that you wish to attract. So if I want a really, smart, well-settled, financially stable, exciting person and partner in life, then I have to be that type of person, right? I have to be the stability for myself. I have to learn how to increase my intelligence. I have to learn how to increase my energy and be exciting to the world around me, because only then will similar people come to me in my life. Right? Only then will I put myself in those spaces and go to those events, join those clubs, start learning those skills that are going to get those similar people around me. Oh my God, Rupal! Hi, Rupal! Oh, it's so nice to have you here, sweetheart. You are like the top commenter in the community. We're just so happy to have you. Thank you so much for being present. I think between you, Sonali, Minaz, you guys are just such an incredible support to the community. I love you. Mwah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Rupal, ask me anything that you want. Nasreen, hello, sweetheart. It's so good to see you too. Remember seeing some of your comments on posts and stuff. So let me just finish off answering this question. But really good to have you guys here. So I see Vera too. Hi. We have special guests in the office. I might ask her to come on camera. So you have to be that person you want to attract, right? You want a light in your life, you have to be the light. You want someone funny in your life, you have to work on being funny. Because yeah, opposites do attract, but they don't stay together for very long. Lesson of the day, mic drop. So I'm just telling you some things that I've learned. So find out if you're that person. A good question to ask yourself is, would you date yourself? Would you marry yourself? Would you want to be in a relationship with yourself the way you are? If the answer is no, then find all the things that you need to improve and work on them. Because through that process of improvement, better people, good people are going to come into your life. Okay? Love you. I did this myself, and this is why I'm saying this. So we can talk privately if you want to do that. You guys can find my champion page where you can follow me. So go to the champion section and look for my name. You can follow me and you can ask me questions individually. All right, my dears? Yeah, Rupal, I am so happy to have you here too. It's just really nice to be able to interact with you because you've been super active. So thank you so much for being a part of this. So Anonymous has another question. Is it okay to feel attracted to someone else when you have a boyfriend? Attraction happens, yeah. What the heck? And sometimes our partners don't provide everything that we need, right? So one person can't be everything to us. One person can only provide certain things that they're good at. They can only shine in the way they shine. So if somebody else shines, it's important to know why you're attracted to them and what is that element that they might be providing that you're missing. The other essential part of this equation is, what are you going to do about that attraction, right? Do you have to act on it? No. So I'm going to tell you a story about my good friend Manoj. Manoj isn't watching because SHEROES is a women's platform. So sorry, Manoj, if you ever get to see this one day or your future girlfriend shows this to you. But Manoj and I were talking on Sunday, and he is looking for a long-term relationship. He's a fantastic guy. Okay, he's like one of those, he's a gem of a person. And he's one of those people that only gets into relationships with people who are around him. They're either friends or coworkers. He might go on Tinder, but ultimately he's not going to get into a relationship with people he meet there, because he's one of those guys that takes a long time to warm up, and people take a long time to warm up to him because he's a little bit on the shy side. Like, you know, he's one of those smart guys. So the deal is that he has started liking somebody in his office. And, you know, they started a short interaction, and they were talking together, and then they started to get to know one another. It started with WhatsApp messages. She actually works underneath him. And the deal is that she then revealed to him that she's in a relationship with somebody. And actually, that person also works in the same office right across from them. So there's 3 of them working together, and it's like a little love triangle. But the question here is, she's been dating this guy, the girl that he likes. She's been dating this other guy for 10 years. They've been dating since school. Now, is it a bad thing that she's attracted to Manoj? No. But it might be a bad thing if she chooses to act on it, depending on the boundaries that they set in their relationship, right? So some people might say, okay, cool, you can date other people. You never know. And some people might say, well, it's not okay. Right? So we have to set those boundaries for each other, but it's okay to feel that way, and it's totally normal. But remember that it's all about what you do with it. All right? Mwah! Hope I answered your question. One more question. Do you think one should go back to their ex if they feel their ex has changed and the love is still there? Okay. I have a few opinions about this, so I'm just going to tell you straight. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. You're just going to hear it from my mouth the way I feel. Breakups happen because the relationship is broken. Okay, done. Ho gaya, mic drop. Done. But the deal is that if you feel that your ex has changed based on some issues that you guys were having, you have to approach this like a completely different relationship. Like he's a new person. Like you're getting to know him all over again. All right. So you've also grown in this time. You're not the same woman. You've probably learned a few lessons. You've probably turned out like Beyonce, become really empowered, you know, after you dealt with the breakup and were sad and everything. So you are 2 different people with 2 different sets of learnings coming at 2 different times into this relationship. And when you come back together, you have to treat it like a new relationship. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, if your ex was abusive or was a jerk or treated you badly in any way, shape, or form, then I would say that you need to seriously rethink going back into that relationship. Okay? Because unless that person has gotten psychological treatment or seen a counselor or done some really deep work on themselves, those people don't change. So, you know, go back into the jaws of a lion. Accidentally walking into the jaws of a lion once is okay, but stepping into the jaws of a lion intentionally without being trained as a circus trainer is not a good idea. All right, honey, I just want to say that out loud. Don't ever go back to anyone that treats you like shit. You deserve more than that, and it's really hard to come back from that, right? You can be burned once, but if somebody burns you twice, it's really hard to recover. So I want to say that. I hope I answered that question, and ask me more questions if you have more questions. I'm looking at the questions now. Okay, hi, I don't know what to do about my relationship. My boyfriend seems to be acting weird. Okay, so I need more information, but I want to tell you about the rubber band theory. Okay, in a relationship, there are times when your relationship will feel really amazing and times when your relationship will feel really crappy, or hopefully somewhere something in between, but there might be some ups and downs. If your boyfriend is acting weird, you can ask him what's going on. If he's not telling you what's going on, give him some space and go work on yourself. Go do things you love. Don't abandon him, still be there for him, but go do you. Because sooner or later, he will have a choice whether he wants to come back and engage with you the way that he normally does, or he'll start to tell you what's going on. But if you put any sort of pressure on him to tell you what's happening, tell me, please, what's happening? Why are you acting this way? If you're putting any sort of pressure on him to do that, then he's probably not going to tell you. And it's going to feel like more and more pressure on his head. So just let him be, give him some space, and do things that make you happy in the meantime. I think that'll help. Okay, a fantastic question from my super bae, Tulika. Tulika, how do you get away from love? All problems start with that attachment. So attachment's not a bad thing. I don't think you need to run away from love, but I think you need to learn how to accept the pleasure and the pain. Sometimes they both come together. And when we do our best to avoid the pain, sometimes we numb ourselves and we avoid the pleasure. The other thing to think about here is if your love is hurting you in a significant way, and if you're feeling more and more pain and there's no balance, or that pleasure doesn't make the pain worthwhile, and that's why you feel like you have to get away, and that's why you think that there's this super attachment. What is it in you that is making you attached to that pain? What is it in you that teaches you that you deserve love like this, that this is what love is? So I'll leave you with that question. A great question from Supriya about married life. In marriage, what is more important, companionship or sexual satisfaction? So great question, Supu, because I know you and I sit next to you every day. You know, we've got to be with people that we could be with for the long haul. And, you know, whether the banana works in the long run or not, I'm just going to say it in a very funny way. Whether all of that is working when you're 60, 70, 80 years old is another conversation, but there's always moments to build intimacy, right? Not everything is about sexual satisfaction. I think everything is about intimacy. So companionship to me could mean, you know, this water bottle is my companion. Like I could walk around with it and say, hi, this is my friend. Okay, yeah, now we're married. There's got to be something deeper than that, right? And so building intimacy with your partner and translating that excitement of sexual satisfaction into something that's deeper and lasts a longer time is really important. That's not to say that you're not going to get sexual satisfaction even when you're 80 years old. If you know the statistics about nursing homes in the United States, you know that the old people in nursing homes are having more sex and starting to get sexually transmitted diseases because they're getting busy, they're getting it on. So it doesn't mean that that stuff wanes. It's always important, but think about depth. Think about, you know, every day finding something new about your partner, every day finding something new about yourself, looking for those moments of small connection. I think that will help in making your marriage go the distance and really having a satisfying marriage. So I hope I answered your question. Supriya, let me know in the comments if I didn't. I'm happy to answer anything else that you have. Oh no, Anonymous is saying, sitting alone, finding no reason to live. Okay, so I'm gonna ask all of us who are watching to do something with me, okay? So you are not alone. And what I want to do is, even if you think this is funny, everyone who's watching, everyone who's with us right now, I want us all to rub our hands together, okay? Rub our hands together and imagine that all of that heat that's building in our hands is love for this anonymous person who's feeling alone, okay? And now everyone put your hands towards your screen or the sky, or do it silently, or just lift one finger and send all that love to Anonymous. Anonymous, you are not alone. We are all here to listen to you. If you want to share anything, you can share anything. Just, I'm here to talk to you about anything. There's so many of us. We've got our love squad. We've got Rupal, we've got Nasreen, we've got Soso, we've got Shiva, we've got Supriya, we've got Tulika, all here to listen to you. And to be there with you and to hold your hand, okay? So you're not alone, and the reason to live, let that come to the surface. But first, let's clear away anything that's making you feel heavy. So tell us what's going on in your life, and I hope that you felt all that love that we were sending you. Know that you're valuable and you're important and you deserve love, and we're sending all that love to you. So mwah, and big hugs to you. Anonymous is asking, hi, I'm a 29-year-old girl. These days I'm working from home. My biggest problem in my life. People do approach me for initiating a relationship and like me as well. I'm attractive and have good dressing sense and all relevant qualities like patient, caring, and loving. Apart from qualities, still people don't stay with me. I provide them their space also. Within a few days, they used to lose interest and left. It happens always. I'm really hurt. How much do I need to improve me? What is the limit? I feel useless. No person to share my life and love. Kindly help. All right, sweetheart. I'm reading your story. And in your story, you've said, people always leave me. People don't stay with me. And you feel useless. Can you just be? Just be. Stop trying to improve yourself for a little while. Stop engaging with people for a little while, for a relationship. Just be, get to know yourself, do things that you love. Because when we're in this constant pressure to improve ourselves and to get somebody, and we have that age pressure, you guys don't need to tell me I'm 39, right? I've heard it all. So we start to lose that spark in us, what made us special and unique in the first place. And I bet you that somewhere under all of this fixing and trying to attract somebody and trying to be the best for somebody and giving somebody everything, you've lost yourself. Because somewhere in there, you believe that it's always going to be like this. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be. But in order to do that, you have to come to a place of stillness. You have to be okay with being you and just spending time with you. And then you can slowly start engaging in the world. And the best way to do that is to find yourself in spaces with people that align with what you think and feel and love. If you're a dancer, go to dance class because you're working from home, right? If you're a painter, then go take a painting class and start displaying your paintings. If you're somebody that likes to have a lot of friends, and make sure that you're in a lot of social situations and meet a lot of new people. But do all of those things to fill your cup, not to meet somebody, not to get into a relationship. And stay off the self-help books for a little while. Don't do any of that stuff because, there's always something to fix, right? The one hair is like this hair. I can see this in the screen. It's always going to be out of place. It's not going to look perfect. And I'm on here talking on camera to you guys. Give yourself a break. And every time you feel like it's always going to be that way, send yourself some love because that's what you need right now. You need your love first and foremost. You will find somebody. There's somebody out there for you. There's many people out there for you. The myth is that it's about the right person. There's many right people, but you've got to be right with yourself. So stop trying to fix yourself. Just stand still for a little while. See what comes up for you. And that story that you tell yourself about it always being that way. If you can get to a point where you can accept that maybe it could be a different way, then you're starting to go somewhere. All right, my love, I love you. I've been there. I know what it feels like. But ultimately, it's not going to be like that forever, okay? Don't throw a pity party for yourself. You are amongst a community of women that's here to support you. And so you're not alone. Just spend that intentional, quiet time with yourself and stay off the dating track for a little while. Stay off the self-help track for a little while. And you'll see how things begin to shift a little bit, all right? Some great comments. Thank you. Meryl had the question about helping a friend that's undergoing abuse. She's saying she's going to do some deep listening and just be there. That's the best thing that we can do for anyone, guys, is just to listen. Don't pick up your phones. Don't get distracted by anything. Just be there and listen to them. Pay attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to what they're not saying. And I think that we will be okay. So I am reading one last question that I can see from Vidya. Okay, so what about students who have a broken heart, who can't concentrate on their studies? So that's really difficult. When you have a big thing like an exam coming up and you need to study, and you can't concentrate because your heart is broken, I'm going to teach you a trick that I've learned. Okay, so one is that you always have to give a space to those feelings to express. Feelings are a pressure cooker, and when we suppress them, we explode. So we have to give that space. But sometimes when we're studying, it's not the best time. So here's what I suggest. Vidya, and you can tell this to any students that you're talking to. Guys, Vidya is one of our amazing super champions on SHEROES. She helps a lot of people in the career community and other communities. So we love you, Vidya. Mwah. Thank you so much for everything that you do, and thank you for asking this question. When you feel a troubling emotion come up and you don't have the time or the space to deal with it, to cry, to express yourself, you can do one of two things. You can mentally say to that emotion, okay, I have a sad memory coming up of my ex or some situation that's going on where my heart has been broken. I acknowledge that this memory is there. I see you, I recognize you, but this is not a good time. I'm putting you aside and I will deal with you later. And deal with it later. Go into the room and cry, go dance, go for a run, go talk to your friends, but definitely deal with it later. The other tactic is to write it down. Keep a small diary with you, and whenever you have a feeling or a memory come up or a thought when you're studying, just get it out. Okay, so just write it out on that diary and get it out of your system, and then put that away and go back and read it later. Okay, so you're acknowledging that that feeling is there, you're getting it out of your system, but you're telling that feeling and that thought, I will come back to you later once I study. Okay, because heartbreak is not like a one-time thing. You can't just cry once. Sometimes you have to do it over and over again, and you might have to write over and over again, dance over and over again to be able to deal with it. So sending love to anyone that's dealing with a heartbreak right now. We're with you, and it sucks. It sucks so much, but know that you're not alone, and we are always here to help you. Okay, so, Anonymous is asking if we can talk on a call so that you can explain your problem. So Anonymous, I can't call you, but what you can do is, if you go to the champions page on SHEROES, you can write to me on my champion page, okay? And we can talk one-on-one. So I'm happy to do that, or I'm happy to talk to you here. So let me just check if there's any other questions that you guys have. I don't see any other questions. I think there's some more questions somewhere else, which I'm trying to figure out, but I can't really figure out because this is somebody else's phone. I don't know how to use it. So I hope that I didn't skip anyone's questions. You guys, I love you so much. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be in this community with all of you. I've been talking at you for almost an hour, answering questions. We've just been sharing. If you liked this live experience of getting to ask questions and talking to me, when you want to see more of these, you want to have more experts and more open conversations, please let us know in the comments and press that heart button so that we know at SHEROES and we can do this more for you. But I'm sending you all my love. And from my heart to yours, have a really good day. All right, guys, love you. Bye.